In this problem, we want to find the critical numbers and the open intervals in which a function is increasing or decreasing. So we got f of x is equal x to the fourth minus 4x to the third minus 20x squared plus 8. And our first step is to find the derivative. Well, everything's x to a power, so just take your power, put it out in front, lower it by 1. So x to the fourth becomes 4x to the third minus 4, and the x to the third becomes 3x squared minus 20, and then the x squared becomes 2x, and the 8 drops away, which gives us 4x to the third minus 12x squared minus 40x. Step 2, set this equal to 0. So we've got 4x to the third minus 12x squared minus 40x equal to 0. And then we want to solve it. Well, first method is GCF. We're going to factor out. They all have a 4 and an x in common. So we'll factor out a 4x, and that leaves us x squared minus 3x minus 10 equal to 0. Now looking at what's inside the parentheses, it's PST. We got x squared, no number in front of our x squared. And it factors as x minus 5 times x plus 2 equal to 0. Zero factor property. It says if you get 0 on one side, you factor the other side, you're going to set each factor equal to 0. So I'll set 4x equal to 0. I'll set x minus 5 equal to 0. And x plus 2 is equal to 0. Now here, divide both sides by 4. And we've got 4x divided by 4 is equal to 0 divided by 4. So we got x equals 0. Here I'll take negative 5 over, and it becomes a positive 5. Here I'll take the 2 over, and it becomes a negative 2. Now here's our derivative. So let's go ahead and begin by putting that in our calculator. So I'm going to press my y equals. Press my y equals, clear. And I got 4x to the third. So 4x caret 3 minus 12x squared minus 40x. Okay, now you want to set up your calculator for table mode if it isn't already set up. So you do second window, and you will go down to the line that says independent, and you want that to say ask. So your right arrow, put your flashing cursor on the ask. If it isn't already highlighted, press enter one time, and then you should see the highlighting put on the ask. And then you do a second mode exit out. Okay, so now we're ready for our table. Let's go build our table of intervals and see what we have. Okay, our smallest critical number is negative 2. So we're going to have x equals negative 2. Our next one's 0. And our next one's 5. There we go. Clear over here is negative infinity. Clear over here is positive infinity. Now we want to choose test cases. I want to choose a value between negative infinity and negative 2. Doesn't matter what. I'll pick negative 3. Could have picked negative 4 or negative 5. Any of them will work. I want to choose a value between negative 2 and 0, like negative 1. I want to choose something between 0 and 5, like 1. And I want to choose something between 5 and infinity, like 6 or 7 or whatever. We then want to plug those into our derivative. Now think what we did on the calculator. We put our derivative on our y equals, and we set our calculator up for table mode. So let's come over here. Table mode is above your graph, so you do second graph. You may or may not have numbers already here. If you do, go ahead and press delete to clean them out. You just keep pressing delete over and over. And our first test case is negative 3. So I put a negative 3, enter. Our next one is negative 1, so I do negative 1, enter. Then 1 and then 6. So 1 inner, 6 inner. Okay. Our first test case, -3. That gave us a negative number. Negative number means this is decreasing. The x equals -1 gave us a positive number. Positive means it's increasing. Our next test case, 1, gave us a negative, which means it's decreasing. Our 6 gave us a positive number, which means it's increasing. So, this will be decreasing from -infinity to -2. Then it's increasing from -2 to 0. Then it's decreasing from 0 to 5. And then it's increasing from 5 to infinity. And those are our answers.